What do you do to keep yourself sane?
Sane.
Yeah, keep your mind sane.
I read. I meditate. I mean, yoga and meditation both really help. Those are constants that I really want to keep in my life. My cats,
You have two?
too.
What are the names?
One is Chandi. That's the
Chandi.
girl. She's very naughty.
Yeah.
And then other one
Is she the golden?
Yes, the
that's
yellow
Chandi.
color one. That's Chandi.
Yeah, that's Chandi. Okay.
She's so pretty. Then we have Kolu. Kolu is the boy. Kolu also has another name, Tuk Tuk, because Kolu has only 3 legs. So
That's like the darkest name you can. That's super smart and dark at the same time. Tuk tuk.
yeah, he's like a kid, Danepao.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So my cats, and then I think all the work that I do in culture and arts is where my passion and liking towards creativity comes out, and that helps a lot to put out everything else that comes to me in my other life. So that gives me a nice balance.
You're directing movies now.
I don't direct
Producing?
movies, I produce. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I've been doing it for a while now.
What's this? You did something. You released something this week, right?
Yeah, it's coming out tomorrow. It's
Okay.
aired on ITN tomorrow. Yesterday was day before yesterday was the launch.
Is that a movie or a
Nah,
series?
it's a TV series
Okay.
in Sinhala.
Okay, give us all the spoilers. What is it about?
It's out there. Watch the trailers. Can we
Okay.
do a trailer here? Like insert
Yeah,
trailer.
we can. We can. What is it about? Tell us.
It's about an entrepreneur like yourself, actually.
Okay.
So this is about. I don't think I should. Yeah, I think I just gave it out by saying that.
give us all the information.
No. There's no point in doing a teledrama if I'm going to narrate the story in a podcast. Okay.
Tell us. But it's about an entrepreneur.
Yeah, so it's about a young guy actually who
Tell us what you can tell. I mean, you don't need to go
yeah,
into
that's
detail.
fine. But it's about a young guy who gets very frustrated with working in a very mundane job,
Oh,
and he feels it's an insult to his human talent,
okay.
and he feels a machine can do that, and why is he needed? So he just quits, and life isn't kind to him. Neither is a society, because it's a tough one to just walk out of a job.
Yeah.
And we follow him through that journey actually to see where he ends up and how he builds from those challenges and frustrations that gets thrown at him. And in the end, I mean, it's a very short series. It's 21 episodes.
21 episodes.
Yeah, very, very short. I mean, compared to
That's
us,
short? Okay.
Yeah, so usually in single teledrama, it's 60 episodes all the way to 100, right? So this is a short one in that sense. But yeah.
And how long is one episode?
20 minutes.
Okay.
And you can watch it on ITN or online on YouTube.
Nice. Congratulations.
thank you,
That's
thank
big stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first time we did anything for the masses in that sense. I mean,
Right.
ITN is
Yeah,
mass
they are big,
teledrama. Yeah.
Everybody watches it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And it really was done with the effort to induce this kind of thinking in the masses. How can we look at problems creatively? How can we approach solutions in a more innovative way? How can we get out of that mindset of where we need to be looked after by the state, or where we need to be looked after by somebody else, or where we blame our stars or planets or whatever? Yeah.
What's your eventual aim with GLX?
What's my
Eventual aim with GLX? What do you want? What are you trying to create with GLX overall for the people who don't know about it?
Yeah, so GLX and me as Randhula are two different things.
Okay.
But with GLX, my eventual aim and my hope for it is that it becomes a catalyst, a vehicle for people to embrace change, people to embrace a different way of building products, building companies, and living life. So it is for entrepreneurs as much as it is for end consumers. because this proposes and suggests an alternative way that we could live as full human beings. And that's why it's called Good Life, right? Access to good food, access to great places to visit, access to great wellness opportunities, access to our heritage, access to new innovations that blends in with all of this, regardless of your economic power, and access to be able to work in those spaces if you have solutions. So it's an attempt to really make all of these things that are overlooked, traditional sectors that are overlooked. It's an attempt to bring back some life into them, bring back some innovative methods into them to make it sexy again. But on the other end, it's to make entrepreneurs and consumers also more conscious about why are we building a business to begin with? How are we impacting people when we are building this business? So it's to change the narrative. It's to create a paradigm shift into helping all of us become more conscious.
And the support that you guys give is really big for a lot of small businesses that are coming out. I've seen stories of, small entrepreneurs from far away really utilizing the opportunity and growing.
Sure. But what's different, right? Anybody can support, and that's a good thing. There needs to be many more who can support and who will support. And that can come from different institutions, government, private sector, it doesn't matter. But what's different with Good Life X is we propose and facilitate a different pathway that they can tune into. Okay. With the community that we have 125 people now who have worked with us through these programs. How everybody looks after each other, how it's such a strong collaborative community.
Right.
And it's like-minded entrepreneurs, it's like-minded individuals who are coming together, who gets each other's value system. So it's giving support is one thing, but second thing is what we were talking about all this while, is changing of that mindset of how do we look at challenges, how do we look at opportunities, and how do we break the wheel and design our life or design our product that can help us evolve and help others involved in it evolve as well. So I think that's a big thing that we develop and give space for in GLX. Very intangible.
Right.
But for me, that's what keeps me going. So,
how would AI impact movies, you think?
My take on it is positive.
Okay, for sure, yeah.
Because AI for the whole creative sector, it's so interesting, right? Sometimes people ask, AI is taking away all these opportunities and it's like coming at us. Yeah. That's kind of the narrative some people, says, most people look at it, especially if they're in the creative sector. But I know people who actually use AI to make their creativity even more profound. Yeah. So when I say that, what I mean is, if AI is doing a certain set of tasks, that is the time for the human mind and the human brain to really bring in the human consciousness into that, which will give us an output and outcome that is beyond imagination, only to a human mind or only to AI mind. So collaborations between AI, or basically working with AI, can help and enable the creative sector to make leaps and beyonds. And it's very similar to technology, very similar to smartphones. Take a look at how telecommunication happened back in the day, where somebody had to plug in wires. And if we kept everything as it is because we were afraid of those people who were plugging wires losing their jobs, we won't have smartphones now. Yeah. We won't have this kind of wireless technology now. Yeah. So with technology evolving, humans also evolve. Yeah. But like I said at your AI launch, it's about who's teaching the machine. That is scary.
That was a long time back. I remember that. Yeah. Yeah.
Who's
You
teaching?
told me,
Yeah.
guys like you building it gives me hope.
Exactly. Wow. Oh my God. You remember everything.
My brain sometimes remembers
Yeah.
everything line
Yeah.
by line. Yeah.
So who's teaching the machine is a bigger
Yeah.
concern, really. Honestly, that's the only concern.
Yeah.
Because yeah.
Yeah, and I also think we can get machines to assist us with a lot of things and
Yeah.
focus on what really makes us human.
Yeah.
and-
And people are just so used to this connects to the other conversation that we had about people who are lethargic and
Yeah.
are just sitting in their butts.
yeah, we all are, aren't we?
Well, yes, but yeah, that is by design, but our brains aren't there, at least. Sitting
Yeah.
on our brains is what I
Yeah,
meant.
yeah, okay.
But this connects to that. People are happy just to rest in that space of comfortability of repetitive tasks.
Yeah.
Where you don't have to think, where you don't have to use your brain, where you don't have to critically think, where you don't have to make decisions. You just move A to B to A to B to A to B all your life, and you call it a life. And if that works for you, great, I'm happy for you. If that gives you fulfillment, great, I'm happy for you. But do you even ask yourself whether you're happy first? So what AI
Do
come
people
into
even
picture?
know whether they are happy?
What is happiness to begin with? Do people ask themselves that question?
No.
Because you're scared of what you'll find out. Instead, you numb yourself to alcohol or to substances or to other activities,
Yeah.
or you numb yourself by just sitting in front of a television or a screen, and you just engage in distractions because you want to avoid truth.
Wow, that's so powerful. Yeah.
And this is what COVID did, right? Everybody was stuck in their homes, and you finally got to meet face to face with the partners you have in your life, or the parents, or the people that you have as family in your home. And you realize you don't know these people and you can't be with these people for a long amount of time. That drove people mad.
Yeah, yeah,
And there were so many people who were finding excuses, somehow finding passes to get out of the house,
yeah.
just to drive around, take a breather.
Yeah.
And there were also people who were scheduling Zoom calls after Zoom calls just because they wanted to distract themselves and prove to themselves that they are being useful and they are working. Because just by sitting on their own and being in their own thoughts or doing something else wasn't productive enough.
And humans are scared of that.
Exactly. So is being productive only doing a job? And what is productivity anyway? Putting your human skills, thoughts, mind into something, does it only have to be something like a job where you get a JD, where you have a boss, where you have a set of KPIs, where you get a paycheck at the end of the day? No. I mean, nobody evaluates me for everything else I do outside of work, and more than 50% of my time goes to things outside of work.
Yeah.
I don't get a appraisal for it, but it's for myself, and that's called happiness. Even if I screw up, it's because of the decisions I made. And that makes me happy because I call the shots.
How long do you think we'll exist in the world? Just take a wild guess.
You and I.
No, not you and me. No, the world as a whole.
World as a whole.
But you and I think will much longer than any of our predecessors, because I think there's a big research in longevity. Yeah.
Tell me more.
I'm not an expert in it, but I've been reading and listening to a lot of interesting people, and looks like in the next 5 to 10 years there could be breakthroughs that would slow down our aging process. There is already a lot of experimental medicine, and a lot of entrepreneurs are already trying that out to reverse their aging. But there'll be mainstream solutions in the next 5 to 10 years that would slow down, like, I don't know, somewhere in the degree of 30 to 50% aging. That's
yeah.
But do we all want to live longer?
That's the thing, right? What kind of life are you trying to extend?
Yeah.
And what will you do with your bought time, extra time? Is it to kind of build another company, earn $1 billion? Then what? You die at 103 and not 85. Fantastic, grandpa. But what are you doing? What are you doing with those extra 28 years? So this is really an interesting time to live because you get to see people's choices of how they age. So I know entrepreneurs like yourself. I mean, you don't want to call yourself young, but you're still young. But I also know people who are 50.
Young. What are you talking about?
Nah, you said no. Yeah, you met me like a young entrepreneur. You're still a young guy. I know people who are 50, 60 who have taken the same path as you, and the questions that they're asking themselves right now in their ages. They've achieved greatness. They've achieved fantastic milestones in their businesses and financial goals and their family objectives, all of that. And how do they self-reflect now? What kind of questions are they asking themselves? What is missing in their life? They're looking for meaning. They're looking for connections. They're looking for a new purpose almost. So they're at 50 and 60. What happens when they're at 90 and they're still strong when we look at longevity, right? I'm talking about people who are not the other kind who's just lazy and drowsy, but the people who have activated their brain capacity or their alertness and sharpness. It'll be very interesting to see how the world evolves around extended life.
I think if I live longer, I want to keep doing stuff. I can't just sit back and
let's have this conversation again when you're 50. Can we mark that down? When is your 50th birthday?
I have a long way for that.
I'll be so old. No, we're not that. Yeah, no. Yeah. You'll be 50 and I'll be 50. Something. Yeah.
But why don't you just keep doing good stuff?
You can, yeah.
Why can't you keep yourself? Yeah. My meaning comes from. I've thought this through. For me, the meaning in life comes from building things and building people and organizations. So if I stop doing that, I might be miserable.
So what if somebody, let's say technology or AI, just like AI is developing videos and beautiful paintings and music right now, can build better than you?
Sure, we'll use that to build it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the value that's created that I'm after. And we gotta find creative ways to grow with that. I'm super excited about AI because I think even in engineering, one of the biggest worries everybody has is, will AI replace developers, software developers? And already there are tools like GitHub Copilot and many others that would help you write your code. So you just start telling and then it will just write everything. And they are really good because they learn from like millions and millions of lines. But I think that makes good developers great developers.
Yeah, exactly.
And so But when I say I like building things, I don't even. So one of my retirement plan is to settle down somewhere in a mountain and grow some animals, grow some plants, and then just live there.
You don't want to do that now? I'm asking.
I can do that.
You can do it now. Exactly. You can do it now. And you can still run Rootcode and do it now, right? Yeah. So you're waiting till you're 50 because?
Because I'm so much enjoying what I'm doing and my time is limited. My energy is limited. I'm giving everything in to what I'm doing.
Okay.
I also can't multitask.
Okay. Good answer. That's okay.
I'm terrible at multitasking.
Yeah.
I can do one thing good.
Okay.
At a time.
Yeah.
If my priorities get scattered, I'm not at my best.
Yeah.
So,
okay. No, understood. Yeah. A goat can be distracting.
Goat can be distracting. But I don't know. Yeah, I mean, if you all live long, I don't know. And and at some point, I will. We are already investing in some smaller companies, but at some point, I would like to really scale that up and um, spend more time in investing and growing a lot of companies that I don't necessarily have to run day to day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because again, I'm not addicted to the process of building. I'm just kind of addicted to the outcome and the value that's created.
Same.
So I'd love to see more companies coming up, and I've learned a great deal trying to build a business. So yeah. You know how I managed to be able to run longer now? My understanding about my brain changed
Right.
when I started learning about the part of the brain that's responsible to build and keep habits, the basal ganglia. Because we always think everything we do, we have control over. It's our conscious kind of mind is taking decisions. But when I learned that all the habits that we have and how we like naturally do things, like, wake up in a particular way and eat in a particular way, crave the same things, have the unhealthy habits to healthy habits. It's because there are templates in our basal ganglia at the back of the brain. And how do you rewire that? So when I learned a lot about habit building and how do you, because those templates are there for a good reason. Because if those templates don't exist, every time you open a door, you need to think about what's the best way to open, and then you need to turn it in the particular way. Like, that's automated. Now you don't need to think. You just go, and then your brain brings up the template, just executes it and goes back. But that template is the biggest enemy for us. Like, if I've never run, if I don't exercise, then there's a big friction. But when I started running, I first didn't care about how long I'm running and how much time I'm running it in. Like, I'm just going to get out and run as much as I can. And then I kept doing that. After a few months, like on days that I wake up, I'm like, okay, when am I going to run? Like, my body is asking. Like, so then it becomes an effortless process. I used to think it takes willpower to have healthy habits. But now I realize it doesn't really take willpower. It just takes perfect training of your basal ganglia that will help you build habits. But willpower is needed to stick through that process still. But if you just even mindlessly stick through the process, I think it works out.
Sticking to the process is, I think, what we interpret as willpower. But it's designing the templates the way you want it to.
Designing and then reinforcing the templates in some way.
There used to be a time where I didn't take any sugar at all.
Okay.
Because my attempt to lose 16 kilos back then.
Okay.
And after, I think, a few weeks, maybe 3 or 4 weeks, I couldn't even eat fruit because my body and tongue was rejecting the taste of sweet. So the difference wasn't about chocolate or grapes.
Yeah.
It was about
sugar.
Yeah.
Wow. What's the difference you see in being in a commercially driven organization to a organization that's not necessarily driven by commercial interest, like GoodLife X?
So GoodLife X is a for-profit company.
Oh, okay.
We are a private limited company.
Okay.
Profits matter to us.
Okay. What do you do with the profits?
We pay our staff.
Okay, but you can do that even without making a profit.
Sure. But then we'll have to run like a NGO and like be dependent on donors, grants, all of that. But our model is a profit-making model.
Right.
What we do with profits is we don't have give dividends to our shareholders.
Yeah.
We put it back into the business and the ventures that we want to experiment into and build. But what the question that you asked, Alagan, I really like it because any company can be a private limited company and depend on profits. But still, your main purpose to exist may not be to earn and maximize profits.
Yeah.
Profit is important because it feeds certain level of a certain number of mouths and gives a comfortable life to people who believe in this work. That's why profit is important to me. It helps me live a comfortable life. It helps me create a conducive working environment for my staff and give them a good lifestyle as well. And it helps us to invest into different types of projects we believe in and we want to experiment and create into this world. But if maximizing in the old school sense, if maximizing profits and profit alone is your core reason to exist, then you lose the sight of everything else that you can create in this process. Like Rootcode for you, you've come to a level where you have grown so much locally and globally, and a balance sheet or the number that you have in your bank isn't your driver. Your driver, like from what I hear from you, is the output and the impact the outputs have on whatever your clients are doing and whoever else is connected to those outputs. And it's that joy of seeing an idea coming into reality. So
And money follows you when you keep doing good things.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Money and it's not a bad thing to have money
Yeah,
following
of
you.
course.
And it's just like AI, right? It's about what you do with that money. It's about why you earn it and what you do with it. So we talk about a regenerative business model in GoodLife X, and
Okay.
we talk about that in a sense where
What is a regenerative business model?
that is where you give back more than you take, basically. So the way that industrial era and that thinking of the boomer culture, basically, and when I say boomer culture, for me, baby boomers aren't people who are a certain age. Baby boomer is a mentality.
Okay.
And there can be millennials also who have the boomer mentality, right? So the boomer culture is very extractive. You take, and you take, but you don't give back and create value. It's for a single source to just extract and grow. So I grow my pie. I want the biggest part of this pie. It's for me, and it's for me to grow my bank account. And we have been extracting from people, we have been extracting from nature, we have been extracting from countries. India, when the East India Company came to India, the contribution of GDP to the world was, I think, 35 to 40%.
Yeah.
After they left, it was 3%. That is the story of an absolute extraction right there. But I'm not saying the West is bad and the East is good. This is happening everywhere. Regenerative business model is where you give back more than you take while you earn profits. It is how you make the employees that works with you grow and evolve. You talked about an intern who has grown into be leading one of your teams. That is giving back.
Yeah.
You're giving her a salary, great, but you're also helping her evolve. You're helping her expand her full potential as a human by being here at Rootcode.
Did we help you expand your full potential?
But also you could just be like any other corporate that gives a set of KPIs and people just climb the ladder and fight over each other to earn the next race in your paycheck.
Isn't it the most practical thing?
Then why are you doing this?
But it's good if people grow.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, then they will take care of the business.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So you have a joy and intention when that happens. For you,
Yeah,
it's a part of your journey. It's a part of what Rootcode is.
Yeah.
And
that makes Rootcode better.
Exactly.
I mean, even if you look from a profit maximizing angle, still it's anyway, any business, it's good, right? And if people...
Yeah. So giving back more than you take to your people, giving back more than you take to the communities that you're in, giving that back more than you take to your clients. It's about how you work with your clients, how you solve problems with your clients. So for that mentality to come into place, you need to have a purpose and a reason to exist bigger than yourself and your bank balance. Because money, honestly, is a small part of the puzzle. It's not the everything. If you make that everything, then you have shrunk yourself and your human potential to something that is so small,
Sure.
like a currency.
That's true, because how much money is enough for you, right?
Exactly.
There's a point where
Yeah.
as long as your basics are taken care of and you can live a safe, comfortable life,
Yeah.
after that, yeah, it's maybe until you get there, it looks like money can do a lot. But
Yeah.
when you get there, I think as long as you are not greedy or you don't find joy in lavishly spending money on stupid shit, you will be. I think there's
Maslow's
a limit.
hierarchy of needs, right?
Yeah.
You have the fundamentals that you want to kind of fulfill as any human being at the very bottom, that is shelter, health, access to food, all of that. And then it keeps leveling up. And the highest point is self-esteem, where you are self-actualized. That's where all of these things like consciousness studies to working with AI and how technology has even gone into things like meditation. That's because our society is really moving into a level of seeking for self-actualization, from being at this last tier of the pyramid. But still, money isn't what defines and determines how you climb this pyramid. I know people who have so much money than you and I put together, who are still stuck at the bottom layer of the pyramid
Yeah.
because their, I don't know, childhood or their struggles in life, in their head or in their mind, are still at that scarcity level. So for them, regardless of how much money they have, they want to keep consuming and hoarding and gaining. One car is not enough, you need 3 Porsches. 2 houses are not enough, you need 7 houses across the world. And it's just for one person. It's not like you're giving it to your family or you're enabling other people to live better. It's for yourself. So that is a very deep cycle of addicted consumerism, and you don't even know why you need so much. It's that pleasure and thrill of spending, just throwing money. If you go back to this advertising campaign where diamonds were brought into the culture, like diamonds are forever, and frost yourself, like glorifying diamonds and giving that value to diamonds and getting women to want this and to want it. I don't wear any. To want it and to have that as
You're wearing a tree.
I'm wearing a tree, brother. Tree neme make a it's a leg of a chair, so it's upcycled. I'm wearing junk.
Who made this?
This I actually picked up in
Can I see that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I picked up in Gaul.
Okay.
From this shop that didn't have a name actually.
Okay, so this is an upcycle.
It's upcycled, yeah. It was a furniture shop.
I don't wear anything.
You're wearing a watch.
Yeah, but that's just
It's
for
functional.
notifications. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, this is heavy. How do you?
It's not heavy. It's not that heavy.
Yeah. You know what I do? I have this big problem with having things. I have this big problem of owning things that are not directly adding value to me. At the end of every year, I look at everything that I own, and if I haven't used it in the last year, I give it out or I throw it away.
Yeah.
And that has shrunk my possessions into just 2 suitcases, so I can move anywhere. I don't own.
Yeah.
My greatest possession that I have is my laptop and my phone. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Maybe this mic now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Because I think growing up in a kind of a below middle class family, I also had this kind of scarcity mindset because we didn't have a lot of things that we really needed that are essential, right?
Sure.
Making sure you have food on the table the next week is itself a big challenge. But then when I started growing, I had to clearly battle myself out and win myself from that mindset, because at some point when I was early 20s, I realized, okay, I don't need to think about scarcity anymore, because I'm in a place where I have access to things and then I can make my life. And then I really worked on it so that I am fulfilled, so that I don't feel like that. And it became a lifestyle of minimalism, that I don't own anything I don't need.
How did you come to that point at first?
I think it was like early college times and all. Because when you grow up in a not so comfortable environment, you are not sure whether you will have the resources tomorrow or the next month.
Yeah.
So then when you have resources, like you said, you have this mentality to, okay, I need to collect, I need to hoard, I need to keep. But then it's a matter of how fast you merge with the reality and accept that, no, that's not the case. So it's counterproductive if you try to hoard things because you're over consuming, or you're doing something wrong for the world. And how fast you actualize and merge with the reality is, that's what happened to me. It didn't take a long time. It just, So then and also I started finding joy in owning little. And of course I started building the business early on. So then for me, a lot of joy came from throwing everything into the business. So I don't take out, because I know that money is worth in the company, because it can pay people, it can produce things, it can we can invest in innovation, we can build things that are not possible. So so probably I think it's a little bit more complicated than I originally thought when I started talking about it. I think it's because I had Rootcode growing as well, that gave me a lot of purpose in investing everything into that. So then it also made practical sense to keep my life minimal. Yeah.
But now it's a lifestyle for you.
Yeah, now it has become a lifestyle for me.
And you're fulfilled.
Yeah.
Because external objects isn't what determines your happiness.
Not at all, yeah. Not at all. Yeah.
And that's alien to a lot of people.
You're
very blessed, yeah.
There are things that I wanted to buy like 2 years back, and I have just checked online and I've added it to the cart. Then I'm like, I'm not convinced enough to actually buy this. And then it just gone away.
Yeah. So having and wanting more than you need, I think. It's not a bad thing to have a nice life. And,
of course.
Be comfortable and to go on good holidays or whatever you want to spend on. It's
I think experiences. I'm still after experiences.
Same. Absolutely. Yeah. Experiences, and also when I travel, experiencing those countries through food. And experience.
Oh, yes.
I absolutely love that. Yeah. And museums. Like I spend my money when I travel mostly on galleries, museums, and experiences.
You like going into museums and walk around?
Oh,
I'm just, no offense. I struggle.
I spend hours and days.
Really?
Oh my God. In Washington, I think I was in this program, and then there was a break of half an hour. I knew it was a mistake to take this half an hour and go into the museum, because I ended up staying there for 5 hours and cutting.
This was earlier this year?
Yeah.
We were both in DC at the same time.
That's right. And I only saw from your cherry blossom picture. I'm like, I was exactly in that place, and I took a picture.
I was in DC for less than 24 hours.
Okay.
And then I flew more than 24 hours to be there for 24 hours.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I was just...
Yeah.
But okay.
Yeah. I love museums. And
I get bored in museums.
I cry.
Really? Is it because you like the history?
Yeah, I think I'm very curious about human evolution, behavior, and people and cultures. I get a lot from it.
No, it makes sense. Maybe I haven't tried enough, because early this year I was in Olsztyn in Poland. I did a lecture to one of the university student groups, and then the professor, who is a good friend of mine, we were hanging out. So Olsztyn is the place where Nicholas Copernicus grew, and then he did his findings and all that. So he took me to the Copernicus Museum. And I remember I was a little fascinated to see his handwritten notes on how he calculated stuff and all that. So
Yeah.
maybe I haven't explored enough.
And it's a type of museums, right?
Sure.
Not every museum might be of your interest, but maybe certain types of museums. Yeah. I have done crazy things just to visit like one exhibition, one gallery, like when I'm traveling. It's something.
What's the most memorable memory of a museum or anything that you saw that still you remember?
Ooh.
There's so much.
So much. Which one
You're
to
getting
choose
chills?
from? Yeah. That's how much I love it, honestly.
Right.
I think British Museum. It was a very sad kind of a memory because all the statues, Indian statues that were there, and knowing the history of it, it was just sad to see that. Another museum, Japan House, again in London, a very modern museum. And I absolutely loved it because they were displaying a kind of architectural creation where in Japan they've built an island where that island in itself is regenerative. So all of the things in that island were cyclical and they were self-sustained in that sense. And that architect has done an exhibition there to kind of showcase the lives of the people as well as the architectural structures and the systems in that. So it was scientific and there was a bit of engineering in it. So it was very a STEM kind of experience,
Right.
not just art.
Yeah.
That was nice. And then I think in Baltimore, where I was in this, I went during the lunch break. I did not eat. I haven't eaten for the whole day, and I chose to give up lunch just to go to this exhibition of John Waters. He's one of my favorite filmmakers.
Okay.
His personal collection was on display for the first time. And I was so surprised that I was in Baltimore for one meeting and I could just catch a Uber to get there. The Uber took 20 minutes. I was there for 10 minutes and I came back.
Okay.
But I captured, I looked at the whole thing and it was, I think, one of the most memorable things because the effort, I was surprised at the effort that I took to go there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like walking around old buildings.
Yeah, same.
So every time I'm in a city that has an old town, 70% of the time I spend there.
Yeah.
Walk around, understand things. Talking to people also
Yeah.
fun. My early 20s, I spent everything that I had on backpacking around the world. And that kind of reset my perspective. Talking to people, I've lived in like villages in like Lombok, Indonesia for a month, and I've worked from there. I've lived in mountains in Nepal, which are disconnected for a while. One of these places called Dam Dame in Nepal. From Pokhara, you have to climb up like 3 hours to get there. And there's a tiny village with about 20 families, and they are very welcoming to tourists. So they will welcome you in, and they will give you food. You can stay with them and then go. I did that. There was no signal, no internet there.
Right.
So they grow everything there because they have to, because a trip would take them like 4 to 6 hours walking. So they have like, plants to animals to everything. It's a fantastic experience. A lot of my perspective about life and even minimalism comes from the fact that I've seen people living really happy lives, fulfilling lives with very limited possessions. Then that resets your benchmark. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, travel can change your worldview so much if you're open to it. I mean, you can travel the world and back
then
and
not
nothing
read anything,
changes. Or it changes everything for you. It's about how you really travel and absorb all that is there for you. And I think it's those diverse experiences that you got at a young age that helps you now to really design your life.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. A lot of young people look up to you. Especially a lot of young girls relate to you, seeing you succeed and do a lot of things at the same time.
Okay.
I've heard a lot.
Oh,
What's-
me? I was.
yeah.
I thought you were talking about yourself. I was like,
Oh,
okay,
no,
Alagan's
no.
talking about young girls.
No,
I was excited.
yeah. There's a reason why I'm single. My life is invested in business. So let's see. Now back to my point. A lot of young people look up to you. A lot of young girls, especially, they see you doing things that they all want to do. Kind of being this Randhula, doing multiple things to making impact. What's your advice to them?
I don't like to use the word advice. But I think what worked for me, if I just share that insight, is truly knowing what fulfills you and what gives you meaning, and truly knowing where you want to put your skill set into and why do you want to put into it. So that knowing, that awareness, and making decisions by that will really help us, has at least helped me live a fulfilled life every day. So it's a day by day basis thing where there's life is a mega narrative. It's a one big story, but that one big story gets done up by single decisions you make every day. Single small decisions adds up to the big story. So you can have an end objective to say, okay, I'm going to be the king of the world, or I'm going to be a unicorn or president, whatever it is. But does that define who you are? That again is a title or a position that the world has built. And you are going on a journey to fit into that label. But what if you turn that narrative around and ask yourself, what gives me pleasure? What gives me joy? And what kind of skill set am I blessed with? And what can I nurture more to create more and more spaces of such joy for myself and for others around me? And then how can I do it more? So this truly will help each of us define a reason to live, a purpose to wake up to, and money finds you.
How do you deeply understand what really gives you joy in long term? Because young people get carried away in short term pleasures. I mean, all people too. Everybody gets carried
does.
away.
Yeah.
We all do. What is there any recommendation on how do you seek?
It's a process, Alagan. I mean, I'm not saying that I got it just at the snap of my fingers. It was a process for me too. You go through a cycle of doing what you think would fulfill you only to find out it doesn't.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't, then it's a reality check to see, okay, this is not it. Then if not, then what is? Then you stop chasing that and find a different route. So it's honestly, for me, maybe it's a feminine way of doing it. It has been practical application and trial and error. Earlier this year, I took part in a fantastic leadership program called SELA, Southeast Asian Leadership Academy. Yeah, you should go on it, I think.
Is that the one you were telling me to go at some point?
Fantastic, yeah.
You told it will change my life?
It changed my life.
I didn't do yet. I will do. Okay.
Yeah. Sila, in that, one thing that we did was a lifeline assessment where we kind of, from 0 to age whatever I am today, 35, you kind of plot down different phases in your life and you mark your highs and lows. And you give points to it. So this is a like plus 10 or minus 10. Okay, so both ups and downs. even though I am the holder of the story of my life and I know everything that has happened to me and how I felt about it, your interpretation of what happened to me might be different to how I felt, right? So I know, and I consciously grew and went through my life because I'm an only child, didn't grow with a bunch of siblings. So there was a lot of me time to really know what my life is evolving to be. Not by design, but, by sheer coincidence. And still, to see it as a lifeline like this and to see how you have given marks or scores to each thing that happened to you it took me by absolute surprise, and how helped me identify patterns of what truly fulfills me and gives me meaning and what doesn't. Some things are nice to have. I mean, getting awards and getting recognition, the society respecting you is great for you to do more of what you really truly believe in. But it doesn't feed my legacy, or it doesn't feed into a need for me to build a legacy as such, or nothing like that. It just helps me do more things that I want to do. More doors open to me because people respect the work that has been done already. So these kind of things really dawned to me at that point as well. But overall, it's about coming to a certain point and getting a certain milestone and reaching a certain milestone and looking around you and asking, is this it? Is this the truly most fulfilled moment that you have? If not, then what is it? So the constant self reflection, I think, helps.
What's your biggest fear?
My biggest fear, leeches. Oh.
Really?
Yeah, and this is honestly such a pain because I work a lot in the field. I love going into nature. I love going into farms. Yeah, upcountry farm scenario is out for Randhula because of leeches. But other than that, I think I have a deep fear of being misunderstood by people I care for. It doesn't matter to me whether the society in large or as a whole misunderstands me or misinterprets me. It's okay. It's not on me, it's on them. But if you, as a friend who is close and I care for, misunderstands me or an action of me in some way, that's deeply scary, worrying, and I would avoid it at any cost. So I can't rest if I know that you have misunderstood me in some sense. Yeah.
Great. What are you the most excited about in the next few years?
Oh, next few years. It's a long time, brother. I'm excited. I want to travel. I think take time next year if I can to do a bit of a longer journey.
Okay.
Similar to what you've done to Nepal, I want to do for myself. Because as a girl, growing up in a culture like Sri Lanka, you don't get to do that when you're young.
Yeah.
And now that I can make at least decisions for myself and not worry about my parents or all of that, that's something I'm looking forward to.
Nice.
And we are cooking up a few experiments in GoodLife X, so excited to see them coming through. Excited to having more and more meaningful conversations like this. I think this year was good, but before that there was a phase in my career where it took all of my time, all of my energy only for that. And I'm somebody who gets fooled by meaningful connections and conversations, and I don't want to lose that. So I want more of this in the future.
Great. Thank you, Randhula. Thank you for the time, and thank you for being one of the greatest friends.
Thank you.
For a very long time. I think the world is a better place because you exist.
Yeah, right back at you. No, it's wonderful to really be here and to, I think, see your growth, meet your team every time I meet them. It's fascinating to see how well they're doing and how they've grown. But I think more than anything, what gives me the greatest joy is to see how beautifully a friend evolves and to evolve together with that friend. And that's a very rare joy to have in life. So thank you.
And the person I was when we became friends and now is a complete. No?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a contrast.
Okay.
It was a bud back then.
Okay.
You know, you were emerging,
Okay. That's
evolving.
interesting. Tell me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the first sentence you said to me, "So, what is your story?"
Really?
Yeah, that was without even you asked, okay, I'm Alagan, who are you, Randhula, okay, and what is your story? That was your next line to me.
So I was good. I was good at talking to girls those
Of
days.
course. I mean, so you're bad now.
I'm just terrible. Yeah.
You just talk to clients now. I think you should just get back to talking to girls.
I'm just terrible talking to new humans now. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're
Actually,
you're
I can't remember
fantastic.
the last time I met somebody who I don't know at all.
Really?
And then I went and asked, "Hey, what's your story?"
That's one of your biggest talents. I think you might do it when you travel, no?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
when
that's
I travel, yes.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, in Sri Lanka, you're mostly here at home, so
And I see only the same faces.
yeah. But yeah, that's one of your biggest talents to get someone into being comfortable to having a conversation at the get-go without even knowing you. Don't lose that. So for me, yeah, you've grown as you've matured, sure, as an entrepreneur, as a person, as a friend. But there's an essence in you that was there and that's still there, and that's why you're my friend, and that hasn't changed.
Oh wow!
Yeah, of course.
And because you have been a friend, you have seen all the ups and downs, right? And every time we catch up, either I'm on an up or I'm on a down. Now things are like more flat and growing, but then
Yeah, and it was fascinating. I think during COVID, right, when we met and when we had that conversation, I will never forget that conversation with you, Alagan. It wasn't a good time for you or Rootcode. It wasn't a good time for any tech company or any company overall. But personally, as an entrepreneur, you were at the stage where it's life or death.
yeah, it was.
There can be many other entrepreneurs or companies who would have gone through the same line, but they were at a different stage that could afford a blow. But you were at life or death, and how you took it and things that you did and decisions you took in order to keep people here paid and your company afloat. I think that was a very profound, defining moment for me to witness, and I'm very glad that I was there to witness it.
Yeah, every mentor I had advised against trying to keep the company afloat at a time when you don't really make the same revenue. Everybody encouraged layoffs. But for me, I know how hard we all worked to groom these people. And two things. One thing, I care about their existence, their life, so I can't just let them go. One. Number two, I also know it's not easy to gain those people back.
Yeah.
And somewhere deep down, I knew at some point you will make it work. So,
Your wealth is your team and not just the balance in your bank.
Yeah. So, that's when I sold my car.
Yes,
And
I remember.
and I moved from the big apartment to a
And I
tiny.
dropped you home.
You dropped me home because I didn't have a car. Yeah, but that enabled me to pay salaries for a few months.
Exactly.
And then I think we spoke somewhere like early at the COVID stage, and we were like relentlessly working hard because it's life or death.
Yeah.
And then in about 3-4 months, we won like one of the biggest contracts of life that changed the company's future.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that was the best sale ever, selling my car and my apartment.
You were able to sell your car and apartment because external possessions didn't make up who you were for yourself.
Yeah.
It was just an object for you.
Yeah.
And you could let it go.
Yeah.
An exchange of money to pay your employees, right? It didn't define who you were to yourself.
Yeah.
Like if you were somebody who has had that apartment and car to maintain a certain image in society or for yourself, you would have struggled so much. You would have gone into debt. You would have, or even shut down the company because you couldn't let go of that. So that's the mindset, really, and that's how it can support you in difficult moments as much as it is giving you a minimal lifestyle right now.
What kept me going was I didn't bring anything into this world.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to take anything when I go, right? The car to the house to everything that I have.
Yeah.
I gained from here. So I was willing to risk everything all.
Yeah. Then you can earn things back. I mean,
Yeah, my
earning
God.
money.
We have grown like 4-5 times after that. Thank you for being there at every stage.
I was just there to listen.
Yeah. And it's great to have a conversation like this in front of the camera. And I hope you guys enjoy it too. And I will see you in another episode of Tech After Work.